What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and this is my first video since the Super Bowl. So I've recovered from my Super Bowl hangover, and I'm ready to get straight back into it. And I'm sorry that it took so long, but it wasn't because that the Super Bowl was boring or anything like that. It's just because I just took a bit of a week off, and yeah, just got back into work and the likes. So ready to go now though, and let's get straight into what do we got here. Who is next on the list? So the last one I did 85, 84 and 83. So this one, number 82, would be Ted Hendricks. And I have heard of him, not as a player, but only as a person on Madden, like as one of the legends. And I think he's like super, the only thing I know about him is he's super tall. That's about it. Whoa.
Anytime.
Hello, I'm Ted Hendricks of the Los Angeles Raiders.
That was a weird mask.
Ted Hendricks was, in my mind, if not the best outside linebacker, the most complete outside linebacker. Coverage, pass rushing, intelligence, playing the run, the whole 9 yards. I think LT's the best I've ever seen. Ted is right there.
Over his
Oh yeah, LT, it's Lawrence Taylor, isn't
with
it?
the Colts, Packers, and Raiders. It was a tall order for any offense to contain 6'7"
Whoa.
Ted Hendricks.
6'7",
player
really?
known as the Mad Stoic, and kick him in the head, Ted could seemingly do anything.
Kick him in the head, Ted.
Whether playing the run, the pass,
But,
or blocking more kicks than any player in history.
wow, really?
The four-time Super Bowl champion was a man of many teams, many names, and many adventures.
Oh, that was nice.
I remember Ted Hendricks addressing a group of Hispanics off the balcony of his hotel about 5 in the morning in fluent Spanish. Ted Hendricks is someone who rode on the
He looks like an old school
practice field
guy.
on a white horse, and another time in camp sat one of those, tables that you see at a Mexican restaurant with the umbrella and had a pitcher of margaritas.
There's a Renaissance fair
Got another hat?
in California, and I like to collect a mask every year.
What is that with this?
Driving down the street in the car, and you get some very interesting looks from different people, kind of like stare at you, and I wonder what kind of
What
is behind that mask.
What?
Ted Hendricks was one of the smartest guys I've ever been around.
Why is he wearing a Jets shirt?
Business and television and football. Ted would come in on Monday morning hungover from the night before, or maybe it was just a kind of a continuation of the night before, and we would put up film of the next week's opponent, and Ted would sit there half awake and call out the play they were going to run before they ran it. And as a young player, you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, how does he know all the answers? Well, he played for Don Shula with the Colts. The guy's seen every offensive formation and every
Just
variation
smart.
since that time. I remember one time we were playing Miami, and they sent someone to crack back on Ted on a sweep that way. And Ted was just so insulted that Don had called that play. and that Don thought that Ted might not recognize the play, and Ted is yelling at Don Shula on the sideline. Don, that's an insult. You can't run that play. I saw that in 71.
I've studied the game long enough to know the
Oh,
different
man.
blocking techniques that I have to deal with. I've seen it so many times during my
Wow.
career that it just comes natural. There's not very much work involved in it.
Incomplete. Sack. What a machine, man. Oh, those gloves make him look so
Ted
menacing.
was a guy who you could line up next to.
He ain't letting
Say,
go.
Look, they're in far
He ain't letting go.
I want you to slant inside. That wasn't the huddle. We'd make the play, get back in the huddle. Ted would say to me, look, when you go in your meeting, you blame it on me. And when I go in my meeting, I'll blame it on you. Ted went where Ted wanted to go. That was the magic of Ted Hendricks.
Bringing out the masks at the game. Steve Young. I think I've heard of him. Was he a quarterback?
What was most striking about Steve,
I think I might have.
Was he's very, very bright. I mean, very bright.
Same name as the category.
Another smart guy.
Rubber, wedding, and marching band.
Yeah, wow, that was good.
You know, he went to law school. I don't think he's ever practiced law. He can do whatever he wants. I always thought he would be the governor of Utah. Well, I was with him at BYU. We would go into Georgia. Steve threw 6 interceptions that day.
Not a good start.
Afterwards, I remember talking to him and saying, hey, man, we got to fix this or I'm going to be, you know, I've got little kids and you got to take care of me here. And then he led the nation in total offense and he'd have these remarkable games running and passing. And I thought, in my opinion, he won the Heisman Trophy.
That was close to being picked.
Steve Young and Mike Holmgren were reunited in San Francisco, where Young faced yet another challenge, being second on the depth chart behind Joe Montana.
I've heard of Montana.
There's a side of him, like a lot of really bright guys, that he really thinks he knows how to do it better than his coach does. But he's smart enough to know this is the way I have to do it to be successful. To Steve's credit, when it came his time to play, he was ready. The greatest play I ever saw him make, and one of the great offensive plays I've ever seen in my life, was a run against the Vikings. The Vikings are winning the game with very little time left.
3 minutes left.
Joe was hurt, Steve was playing, and we call it a little 3-step drop.
What's going on?
Young, in trouble. He's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He
Whoa.
Gets away.
Oh.
Goes to the 40. Young is in trouble. And he goes
Wait, I think I might have seen this before. What a huge run. Whoa. He nearly stumbled.
He finally makes a 65-yard touchdown run and we win the game. And during the course of the run, I stand up and I am punching the plexiglass window and I break my hand. I'm just going, run, run.
Wow. That was pretty epic. I mean, still, for a quarterback to do that. That's awesome. Oh man, look at him. His face is just so in the zone. Blocked. Oh. Go up there.
To be great as Steve became Hall of Fame and all that stuff, he had to discipline himself as a thrower. I can't rely on using my legs to get out of this all the time.
Yikes.
And with Steve, you know, you coach him, but he kind of figured these things out for himself.
You got to be able to put plays together without tripping, without throwing an interception. All right? Let's put it together.
That's a nice uniform, man.
And now he throws for the end zone, and he's got Owens, and he catches the ball.
Young learned to beat teams with his legs and his arm.
Oh, okay.
His career passer rating of 96.8 is the highest of any quarterback in NFL history.
I still don't get this quarterback passer rating thing, eh?
You know, one of my favorite moments in football is you let the ball go, you get hit immediately, and you're about to smile. And the only way you can tell what's going on, because your face is in the mud, is to look and kind of watch the fans.
Nice.
You know that it's completed, and then the cheer gets louder. He's gone in for a touchdown. At that moment, art's at its greatest form, because that's kind of football. You kind of see it.
Beautiful. Oh, there he is, Jerry Rice.
Practice it, and then you just let it go. And like Sid Gilman used to tell him, "Oh, coach, there's no rubber band on that ball, so just let it go and hope for the best."
What a throw, man.
You know, he killed me. My last coaching game in Green Bay.
Oh, so he was the opposing coach.
If you want to take one crack, maybe he's the guy you should go for. Young almost
8 seconds left.
Throws to the end zone. The ball had to be perfect. It was somehow.
Wow. Man, there's like 5 guys surrounding him.
Young played his
a nice
best
throw.
on the game's biggest stage, setting a record for the most touchdown passes in a single Super Bowl, with 6 in 1994.
Wow. That's epic, man. 6. Far out, that's no joke. That's crazy.
When he hit these points in his career where it wasn't what he thought it should be, he did something about it. Whether you're talking about the day 6 interception thing at BYU or his having to sit on the bench a little bit in San Francisco. In all those instances, he decided, this isn't what I wanted, I want this, and he went and got it.
Good on you, man.
So when he's holding that Super Bowl trophy, the elation, just the fantastic feeling you get from reaching the top of the mountain, you could see it.
It's the greatest feeling in the world.
Oh, man.
39 days. And I share this with every one of you guys. Everyone in this room made a commitment. And we're there. And no one can ever take it away from us. Ever.
Wow. That was, wow, that was moving, man. I was there with him, bro. I was on that team.
I moved to Dallas, Texas.
I felt that. That was
I
awesome.
was 7 years old. So naturally, growing up, I was a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. We're talking early 90s, the heyday for that Dallas dynasty, where they won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. Certainly, that takes a pretty strong-willed person. And,
Definitely a dynasty.
you always saw that in Troy when you watched him play.
I recognize his
All of a
face.
sudden, here I am an NFL quarterback, and I'm aspiring to accomplish what I saw as a kid.
Wait, so that, hang on, wait, who have we got? Troy Aikman. The name rings a bell. Yeah, it rings a bell, and I recognize the face. Was he in
Big
movies?
night, guys. Let's start fast and let's compete. 60 minutes. Let's go win on 3.
Or a TD
1, 2,
presenter?
3, win.
Troy had, first of all, that fiery competitive nature,
Hey, guys, we got to get in and out of the huddle now. Get in and out of the huddle.
that will to win, that will to
Wow,
work hard and do whatever it takes
that's a
to
nasty
succeed.
gash, man.
That's a damn embarrassment. We can't block anybody up the hugging the ball early. Junior league.
Woo,
Be
he
able to
mad.
Make sure that he's spreading the ball around and he's playing within the offense and playing within himself, but giving everybody the opportunities, knowing when he's called upon to make the play and he's going to make that big throw.
It couldn't have been thrown any better.
There's
Beautiful,
gonna be those
man.
times where, hey, maybe they're frustrated or maybe you just have to manage a lot of those personalities from time to time. It's your leadership ability that makes sure you're getting the best out of those guys.
I had an ability to throw the pass pretty much where I wanted. I was always very accurate.
It's a supersonic laser blast from Aikman touchdown.
I
Supersonic
took
laser
pride
blast.
in my ability to stay in the pocket and get hit and deliver the football.
Scram even 66. Scram even 66.
Had I have played in an offense that threw the ball like Dan Marino played in, or Steve Young played in an offense like that, or Brett Favre, and not taking away anything that those guys have done. They're all great players. There are those that don't put me in that same category because that's not the system in which I played in. I don't think people ever truly
Wait,
got to see.
who was the running backs for him?
Troy Aikman was at his best in big games. He was 11-4 in the postseason. His career completion percentage in Super Bowls is the best in NFL history, topping
Wow.
both Joe Montana and Tom Brady.
Wow, that's no joke.
The fact that my first year in the NFL, I was able to have Norv Turner as my offensive coordinator, who had been the offensive coordinator for 2 of those 3 Super Bowls. Ended up watching quite a bit of film on Troy. That just gave me even more respect about the
Massive throw.
plays that he made throughout his career.
Far out. It looks awesome.
To think that when I was a kid watching Troy Aikman play and win Super Bowls, that I would, 20 years later, be a Super Bowl champion myself and hold up that Vince Lombardi trophy, like he had so many times. That's
Man, that must be a
it's
feeling.
a pretty surreal moment, but one that
Wow.
I feel like maybe from watching a guy like him growing up, it inspired me. It gave me that motivation to accomplish some of the things that I've been able to accomplish at this level.
Epic, man. And you got someone like Drew Brees who's looking up to you. Far out, that's pretty cool. So what do we have? We had an outside linebacker and then back-to-back quarterbacks. That's pretty cool. Now I think I'd heard of all three of them. Like I said, you know, Madden, when they released the Legends, that helps a lot with my knowledge of the game. But yeah, other than that, that was pretty enjoyable. I'm sorry that the entries for this series are few and far between. It's just that you know, it's just one of those things that's off to the side that I just kind of pepper in with all my player reactions. And yeah, so a couple of player reactions coming up very soon. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, smash the like button, guys, and comment down below and subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll see you in the next one. See you later.